And the problem, of course, is that there's pain, there may be fatigue, there may be mood disturbance, there may be like just physical exhaustion or not feeling well, there may be unexplained symptoms. And conventional medicine is great at some stuff, but not great at dealing with chronic problems. And so what happens is you get your drugs or your procedures or your surgery, and either they don't help at all, they cause things to get worse, or they help for a little while and then it all comes back. Or maybe you've been referred to physical therapy or other sort of therapeutic approaches, and maybe they helped a little bit, or maybe they made things worse, or maybe they were helpful, but your insurance cut you off after 12 treatments or whatever, and there you were like, I'm not okay yet. Or maybe you were on the way to getting okay, but then you stopped therapy and you kind of trickled back and kind of slid backwards and got worse again. And so the bottom line that holds it all together, and which I've seen in so many of my patients who come to me, is that it's sort of like life is spiraling away. And I used to be able to do all this stuff that I cared about, but now I can't do things as much anymore. I don't have the confidence that I used to. I'm suffering too much with pain or other symptoms. I don't know what to do. And it can feel like you're looking over a big wasteland where there's like no life ahead of you. And that can lead to despair and just depression and kind of a misery of like, who am I? What am I doing here? And I see that all the time. And I see folks in that situation kind of falling through the cracks in the healthcare system. And so maybe you have a vague idea that, you know what, there might be things that I can do to heal. Maybe you're starting to kind of lose confidence in your conventional doctors, but you might also be wary of all like the, quick fixes and magic snake oil stuff that's out there, because there's a lot of it and it's a problematic situation. Okay, and so that's the rough stuff, that's the hard stuff. But just also let's acknowledge the aspiration. Let's acknowledge what we all want, right? We all want to be able to live in relative comfort. We want to be able to do things that we care about. We want to be able to connect with the people we care about. We want to be engaged in life. And if you've been dealing with a chronic syndrome that's been taking that away from you, it's super important to figure out how to reconnect back to that vision and reconnect back to that sense of possibility. And what I want to tell you is that it's there. The potential is there. And it can seem a bit like you're trying to cross some kind of chasm, like you're standing at one edge and there's a big drop off in front of you and you don't know what's there and you don't know how you're going to get to the other side, and it can seem overwhelming and it can seem scary. And what I've been doing for 25 years with literally tens of thousands of patients is being a guide. And in addition to getting academic training at MIT and Duke and Harvard and learning all the science and the underlying medicine and physical medicine and rehabilitation medicine, I've been studying in a academic and practical experiential way natural healing approaches that are really about activating the healing intelligence that's inside of you, that's been helping you heal since the day you were born, and actually since we were being formed before you were born. But what I've come to deeply believe from my experience working with so many people, combining and integrating conventional and natural healing, is that there really is a deep intelligence, right? And that one of the most important things is realizing like conventional medicine is about a disease approach. What's wrong with me? What's broken? How am I sick? It's important to identify those things and make use of whatever technological approaches we can do to address those things. But there's a whole other thing that we're not doing in conventional medicine, which is saying, how am I whole? How am I healed? What are my inner resources? What can I do to mobilize that intelligence that conventional medicine doesn't understand? Because the fact is, you and your mind-body connection, all of your biology and biochemistry and physiology are so much more complex than like the most complex thing any human being has ever designed. Like, we don't understand it. Conventional medicine hasn't measured it, but just because we haven't measured it and we can't count it, it doesn't mean it doesn't count. It does count. It's essential. It's vitally important. And that inner healing intelligence, what you can learn by contacting it, is kind of like the rope you grab onto. It's kind of what helps you go through the uncertainty and lets you actually make the shift and get your biology to shift and your physiology to shift and your outlook to shift. So I want to unpack this a little bit more for you so you can understand what I'm talking about.